Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Standard 81 podcast. My name is Sincere, and we are back again with another video. But before we get into this, let's go ahead and take that quick 30-second break so that we can get our minds right. And I'll be back with you here in three, two, and one. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for rocking with me. I appreciate you all. Today's um, particular talk is called Who Am I? But before I get into this any further, go ahead and hit that like button or thumbs down. Either way, it's engagement. If you like me, if you don't, all right. As well as subscribe if you feel like you're getting something from this content. I greatly appreciate it so very much. Comment down below and share this with somebody who you think needs it. Without any further ado, let's get into this. I want to start out today with a little something personal, right? Every morning, I read a devotional. And and after my devotional, I was sitting there thinking about what can I talk about today that's really going to make an impact. And while I had something that I thought would be interesting going back into the dating and relationship space, um, I came up with this as I was reading this, and I want to share it with you all today. And here's the book. It's called Stand Strong. It's a devotional for men and for women. And for those of you that don't know, it's a devotional for men. But for those of you that don't know, I am a Christian. So I'm always going to promote Christian values. I'm always going to promote Christianity on this channel. So if you're not one that likes Christianity, then you know, please, you know, do me a favor and do everybody else a favor that likes it. Don't watch or watch. Comment down below because I'm usually not going to sit there and go back and forth with you in the comments. I'm not going to do none of that. I said what I said and I stand by it. Christianity is my lifestyle. All right. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I'm not sitting there trying to convince you of anything that you don't want to do. But I would tell you that if you want to help change your life, just like anything else in life, get something that will help you stay on the right track. And for me, this is one of my resources. Um, Today is July 24th, and the title of this is pleasure. The pleasure is mine. Right now, the reason I came up with this is how I came up with this topic is the scripture reading for today was in Ecclesiastes 2 and 11, chapter 2, 1 through 11, which I'm about to read. And it got me to thinking about a lot of things, not only in my personal life, but in the lives of people in general. And before I get into the rest of it, I want to go ahead and read uh read that. Okay, so here's here's what we got here. Um hang on, hang on just a second. Okay. Uh Ecclesiastes chapter 2, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 11. And it says this: I said to myself, come, let us try pleasure. Let's look for the good things of life. But I have found them to be meaningless. So I said, laughter is silly. What good ideas do we need to seek pleasure? After much thought, I decided to cheer myself with wine. And while seeking wisdom, I clutched at foolishness. And in this way, I tried to experience only happiness that most people have during their brief time in this world. I also tried building meaning by building huge homes for myself, planting beautiful vineyards, and I made gardens, parks, and filled them with all type of fruit trees. I reserved a collection of water in order to be able to irrigate the flourishing groves. I bought for myself both servants, men and women, and others that were born into my household. I owned large herds, flocks, and had more than any king in Jerusalem before me. I also collected great sums of silver and gold, treasures of many kings in Providence. I hired wonderful singers, both men and women, and had many beautiful concubines, everything that a man could desire. I became greater than anyone who ever lived in Jerusalem before me, and my wisdom never, but yet my wisdom never failed me. Anything I wanted, I would take. I denied myself no pleasure, even found great pleasure in hard work and all the rewards of my labor. Here's the clutch. But as I looked at everything I had worked hard to accomplish, I saw that it was all meaningless, chasing after the wind. There is nothing worthwhile there anymore. And that was Ecclesiastes 2 1 through 11. So I'm going to go on to kind of summarize this. Well, read this as well. It says, and the author of this says, I always look forward to summer. The warm the warm sunshine, baseball, beaches, barbecues, and all the pleasures that it brings after a cold winter. But pleasure seeking is not just seasonal. We all enjoy good food, engaging conversation, and a crackling fire of a cool summer's evening. The desire for pleasure isn't wrong. God built us for that. That's something I want you to hold on to. All right. God built us for pleasure, right? God gives Paul reminds us that God gives us richly the things we enjoy in First Timothy 6 and 17. Other passages go on to welcome healthy pleasure, friendship, intimacy of a marriage relationship, but thinking that you can find ultimate pleasure in people things, the final analyzation is it's an empty pursuit. Ultimate pleasure cannot be found in short-lived thrills that the world offers, but rather long-term joy is found in a deep intimacy with the Lord. What you are really looking for is something to satisfy you. And the only thing that can is a growing relationship with Jesus. Pursue him and he will be your delight. That's what I read this morning, which brought me to this topic. Who am I? So many people in this world today, and especially in the social media space, seem to want to collaborate themselves behind um, their value by their values, the things they hold dear, their identity, the places, the people, all this other things. But the question is, who are you? Who are you? And for years, I struggled with that. I struggled with that. I didn't know who I was outside of my accomplishments. I didn't know who I was outside of what people thought. And I know that out there in the social media space, a lot of people are talking about this, but in reference and hearing all these conversations, they seem to put that behind a monetary gain or educational success or a social status or uh, or collaboration with a group or affiliation with a certain kind of culture or ethnicity or or um uh, or 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 orientation. I lost my wording there. But is that who we really are? Is that who we really are? See, I've often heard it once said that if you have to put something in front of who you are, that's what you identify as. So when people ask me who I am, I say I'm a Christian. I don't say I'm a black Christian. I don't say I'm a conservative Christian. I don't say any of that. I'm a Christian first. I'm a child of God because He is the one that gives me my identity. He's the one that I identify by. And I know what you're going to say. You identify yourself through a religion? No, I identify myself through a relationship. This is why on my channel I tend to talk about relationships because the greatest thing that God wants with us is relationship. But we often want to identify ourselves behind other things outside of a relationship. And it's funny to me that in this culture right now, where we are glorifying everything but relationships, so many of us crave relationships. And not just standard relationships, we crave this intimacy. So here's my first point. What are we labeling ourselves? A lot of us want to label ourselves as pro black, uh, conservative, liberal, LGBTQ, whatever the case may be. We want to slap a label on us, and even though we will say you can't label us, we slap a label on ourselves by identifying with the things that we say are important in our lives. But my question becomes, if those things were taken away, who are you at the end of the day? If that label of gay or lesbian wasn't there, who are you? If that label of entrepreneur or billionaire or millionaire or business owner or CEO or doctor or lawyer, who are you? It's a question I had to ask myself. Because honestly, I'm gonna be like I said, I'm gonna be a little bit personal. My life, as I seen it, has not played out the way I thought it was. I had tons of plans, like I've told you before. I had a vision board, I had all this other good stuff, but none of it played out the way I thought it should. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what in the world? When God has to sit there and show me that I'm more than what I'm trying to label myself as. And the second that I let Him give me my identity, I begin to grow and I begin to accept things. And I begin to be more content in life. I begin to have more joy in life. I didn't pursue happiness and all this other stuff that we hear so much about. So my question it becomes is what are you labeling yourself as? We like to say we don't like labels and we don't, but as soon as somebody asks us who we are, we label ourselves. The question is, what are you labeling yourself as? Who are you? You gotta ask yourself that. My second point, the measuring is skewed. The measurements are skewed. If you are measuring yourself by the amount of success you have and it doesn't measure up to the person next to you, you feel like you're a failure. If you don't have the same amount of money in the bank account that somebody else does, you feel like you're a failure. If you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't blah 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 blah, so on and it goes, you feel like you're failing. But the ultimate thing is you're not failing at all. You're just working your way through and see the things that you allow yourself to be identified as is now skewed because somebody can always come along and say it's not good enough. It's not enough. It's not this, it's not that. And because they can say that, you feel like you need to achieve more. Not because something is driving you to move forward, not because that's your intended purpose, but because the measurement in which people are evaluating you is skewed. If you are not radical enough, if you're not liberal enough, if you're not democratic enough, if you're not right wing enough or left wing enough, if you're not a big conservative or whatever the case may be, you are not good enough. The measurement is skewed. So every time you go to label yourself with something, all of a sudden the measurement is skewed because somebody can come along and devalue what you're valuing or say that value is not good enough. And we got to get past that. We got to. The only way you are going to achieve joy, notice that I didn't say happiness, because happiness is a fleeting thing, is to figure out who you are. Third, third point, nothing satisfies. I've said this point before, and I don't remember whether or not I said it on Instagram, whether I said it on TikTok, Instagram. I don't remember. I got a ton of social media platforms. Um, it's like being a kid on Christmas Day when you chase after things, or when you chase after titles, or when you look for things to identify with. Sure, for a little while you're content with it, and it's engaging and it's brand new. Even in a brand new relationship with another person, everything is exciting, everything is new, everything is great. But then after all the excitement disappears and you have to deal with the real life reality and all the stuff has faded. Cortisol has come down, the dopamine hit is gone. It's not satisfying. You want to know why a drug addict has to continue to chase after the things that he chases after or she chases after? It's because it's never like the first time. Hang on a second. Hang hang on. Hang hang on a second, my people. I'll be back.